This game is really going crazy, man. It's nuts. Oh my god.
This is like my fifth take. I've really been trying to hold it together, so please bear with me. Palworld has absolutely decimated the games industry. We have a ragtag group of developers and one guy from a gas station that have somehow drugged this game over the finish line, reaching over 800,000 concurrent players on Steam.
Jesus.
These guys have probably
By
sold...
the way, since this video, it's over 900,000 people.
Like, I don't know.
That's
probably
crazy.
like over 30 million copies by now, and you have these publishers and studios that have been spending like $200 or $500 million.
All for nothing.
These guys just absolutely destroyed them.
Just
They've completely
infinity
decimated
money,
them.
and it's
it is
going
absolutely
nowhere.
embarrassing. You got schooled.
It did.
And the one thing that makes this all the more sweeter is that this game, since its existence, since the minute it entered into the market,
Yep.
this team in this game has had their head held underwater.
They have.
Whether it was journalists that were
People have
attacked...
been trying to misrepresent this game ever since it came out. Whether it's people trying to accuse it of AI, whether it's people trying to like sue them, like Nintendo trying to sue them, or it's fans of Pokemon saying that the game's bad. It's had so many people attacking it.
Developers
It's been
that were
crazy.
attacking it, whether it was Pokemon fans, deranged Pokemon fans. Let me make the very clear
that's
distinction
all
there.
of them, but yeah.
Whether it was Nintendo trying to sue them out of existence. We have never
Exactly
seen a
what I said.
publisher or a studio or a game that has been under this level of scrutiny and this amount of pressure that still somehow found a way to be able to come out on the other side.
True.
And on top of that, became one of the best-selling games of the last decade
40 million
by like
people.
a country mile.
40 million people bought this game already.
This is not only a victory for
That's
players.
insane.
This is a victory for Palworld. This is a victory for the industry. And a lot of people need to start seeing it like that. Because this is a game that just, it flies in the face of what every journalist and game developer thinks what video games should come to represent. This is a game that puts fun first and everything else second.
It's
a game...
also a gameplay first game. That's another thing that people don't talk about with Palworld is that there aren't a lot of cinematics. There's not a lot of story. There's not a lot of exposition. Like it's just simply here you are, you on an island, you have to figure things out. There's lore things in the game, but you're not attached to having to figure them out. You can just play the game.
that they sold for $30. Scratch that.
It's like Elden Ring.
$20 because they wanted to put it on discount when the game went to its full release.
That's crazy.
Legendary.
$20.
So today we're going to be talking about the continued success of Palworld. We're going to talk about what this game means for the rest of the industry, how this game goes to show that the only voice that matters in this conversation is ours.
The players.
And how I think Nintendo should be scared. So Palworld has always held a really special place in my heart because when I was laid off 2 years ago and I decided to go all in on YouTube, it was one of the very first games that I had covered. Its success, along with Baldur's Gate 3, really helped to launch this channel. And I don't think that was simply just because those games were popular. I think it's because of the counterculture movement that kind of formed around those games.
I think he's right about that. There's like an entire culture around people that are rejecting a lot of the traditional video game hegemony of like these games have to have this stuff and it's popular with these people. I think that there's a general rejection of that with everything.
I'm sure if a lot of you guys remember this, but player expectations clashing with developers and publishers complaining about the realities of game development was a massive topic at the time. And I think that that period largely closed the chapter on players being willing to listen or have any empathy for anybody that was asking for their money. With Baldur's Gate 3, developers and journalists were saying that it was unfair for players to expect a game of a similar quality from anybody else, even though Larian had made it with fewer developers, a smaller budget, and within roughly the same amount of time frame as any other AAA game.
I love how there's always some sort of like problem that you can't solve, which is the reason why you're failing. It's never your own fault.
With Palworld, it was full-on gatekeeping. The industry did everything they could to write off that game's success because millions of players were flocking to something that they had already dismissed as a blatant ripoff and the antithesis of modern game design. A crackpot team of 10 developers, a gas station worker, and a rubber band, and a game made for less than $10 million. They attacked its themes, its cruelty, the slavery.
The world's most popular video game is a huge mistake. From ripping off Pokemon to forcing players into the worst possible scenarios, no game is cursed more than Palworld. Like, this is a video game with cartoons. It's a cartoon video game.
Dog developer came out and said that it must have been made nefariously. Others had argued that its gameplay and
it was made nefariously. I have no proof for this, but I know it was nefarious. Look at these people. Isn't this insane? It does feel like that, doesn't it? Look at her profile. And making a game is just so difficult. They're cheating somehow. I just can't pinpoint how.
Others had argued that its gameplay and themes simply just weren't up to modern standards.
Oh my God.
It just wasn't good enough to be this popular, they thought. With
Palworld isn't good enough to be this controversial.
Gamer writing, it isn't a plucky indie game sticking it to the AAAs. It is yet another copycat without an original bone in its body. It's not heralding the death of creativity in gaming either. The CEO, a big fan of AI, but with a catalog.
I love how you can go back 2 years ago and you see how delusional and stupid people were for pretending like AI was this evil thing they had to avoid. I think it's hilarious.
Not Breath of the Wild, not Ark, and not Hollow Knight. Is it really shocking that he would endorse a tool that shamelessly rips off artists? And copycats like this are a dime a dozen. They're not indicative of the industry's future.
Also, if the copy is good, then I think that's really what matters the most, right? I mean, if the copy is bad, then the problem is the quality. Nothing else besides that. It's just literally the quality, and that's it. Oh, hey, hello, hi, how you doing?
I brought you food.
You brought me food?
Yeah.
Oh my God, okay. Thank you. I appreciate it.
It sold 15 million copies in its first year, past 25 million by the end of 2025, and now with its full release, it has broken records yet again by reaching over 855,000 concurrent players on Steam, re-entering the most played games on the platform in its entire history. At this point, it has likely sold well over 30 million copies, which, guys, that's Pokemon numbers. Palworld is now...
That's fucking crazy. It's actually on the level of, like, I remember whenever some of these games came out, like the Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire Emerald, like, I played this one. I obviously played the original, right? This is nuts.
The first real creature collecting contender that we have ever seen enter into this industry.
Look at that.
And yet, for some odd reason, we still have an incredible amount of mental gymnastics that are coming from mostly deranged Pokemon fans that are trying to argue that Palworld actually failed to regain its momentum, that the game...
This is the person I muted earlier.
Somehow is actually a flop, and that everybody needs to accept that they've been supporting scammers because, while it didn't do the exact same absurd 2 million players that it reached at the beginning of early access.
Oh, guys, it's not that good. It only has 900,000 concurrent players. It's a Palworld flop. Oh no, it's Slop World.
2 years ago. Some of them...
Top left Pal. Which ones are these? Let me see. This is Verdash, that's Fingrush, that's Robin Quill, and that's Grimace or something like that. Yeah, I don't know. I forgot the name of this one. Yeah.
Some of them even tried to debate me on it. I don't debate with those kind of people.
Fingrush is streamer.
There is simply just no debate to be had here. Palworld is bar none one of the most successful games in the last decade. It is one of the best-selling new IPs in the past 10 years, maybe even longer than that, only beaten out by PUBG, which spent its first few years as a premium game and sold 75 million copies, and Overwatch... 75
fucking million copies. I didn't even know that many people played PUBG. Isn't it free-to-play now? I thought it was.
Which sold over...
If you want, by the way... It died after 1 minute. Okay, if that doesn't work, so there's like two different things you can do. Number one, you can just use this cord and hold on to it. Or what? Okay. Or number two, what you could do is you could just use my car to charge it and sit in the car while you wait. Because you just get the keys and just, hit the button and it'll like do the super fast charging thing.
I'll just go buy one.
Okay. You're just gonna go buy one? Okay, all right. You heading out?
I don't know where to go.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I would give you...
Figure it out.
Okay, all right, that sounds good. Be safe.
Okay.
50 million copies, apparently. The fact that Palworld was able to even reach 2 million concurrent players in early access was already absurd. The fact that they brought back more than 40% of that audience...
She's going downtown. There's a lot of fence zombies there.
reached over 800 million players for their 1.0 launch. Guys, these are numbers that publishers dream about, and there's a good chance that number is going to continue to grow because, well, there are hundreds of hours of gameplay inside of a game this massive. I am genuinely astounded by this game's success because for all intents and purposes, this game should not have succeeded. Critics and developers hounded it from the very beginning. They called it unoriginal, and even now, writers are still desperately trying to paint this game as a ripoff.
Polygon World just redesigned its monsters to look less like Pokemon for 1.0 release. Like, okay, isn't that good? Like, also, like, how is none of this energy being assigned to Pokemon when they stole the models from Dragon Quest? It's so annoying, man.
Just put out an article recently framing the character design changes as an attempt to make pals look less like Pokemon.
Jesus.
These guys are just still upset that players enjoyed something that they did not. This game is also made by a bunch of inexperienced developers who had never even worked on a game before. Then on top of that, you had these Pokemon fans that were lawsuit baiting and trying to destroy their reputation by fabricating evidence that Pal World was directly stealing models from Pokemon, something that
Do you remember that? That, like, everything was AI generated and it was made to steal, it was stolen directly from Pokemon and all of this. Like, they went crazy when this game came out. They were so mad.
Happened. None of that actually resulted in a lawsuit. Nintendo did not sue Pocket Pair over the creature designs because they couldn't. How could they? I mean, most of the Pokemon designs are actually ripped straight from Dragon Quest to begin with. So instead, what Nintendo did is they sued them.
Oh, no, you can't. No, you can't have. What do you mean you have a bat that flies around? You can't have that. What do you mean you put a trap down and you capture an animal? That's our thing.
For everything else. Throughout this game's development, Pocket Pair has been hammered by Nintendo, and one of the most blatantly obvious examples we have ever seen of a publisher just trying to financially destroy its competition. Soon after the game had launched, Nintendo sued Pocket Pair over patents. First, it was the act of capturing characters in a ball, and then it was aiming and throwing an item with a displayed success rate, and then finally, it was using creatures as mounts. And with that, they were trying to seek an injunction to stop the game from being distributed entirely. They threw everything at the wall, and they hoped that something would stick. That's this entire thing. It's basically what they did from the very beginning, even going as far as to file patents during the lawsuit and attempt to...
they even they patented things during their lawsuit in order to hopefully use them, and they said, well, we had the idea before this, we just didn't patent it. Nintendo tried everything they could to shut this game down.
Retroactively sue Pocket Pair for ideas that they did not actually hold patents to before the case had began. All of this was setting a dangerous precedent for gaming as a whole. If Nintendo got its way, it could effectively ruin countless games across the entire industry by claiming ownership over basic mechanics like riding creatures. But it became increasingly obvious that Nintendo's real goal was just to keep Pocket Pair trapped in legal battles, drain them of their resources, and then drive the company out of business. Pocket Pair's CEO accepted that challenge, saying that he would not back down because he didn't want indie developers to be discouraged from pursuing their creative ideas. Now,
and that's the important thing too. It's not just about this one, it's about all of the other ones that follow this one. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's basically, if you let them roll you over, you're not only the one that's getting rolled over. Every other creator is also getting rolled over at the same time. It sends a message. Yes, exactly. For those that come after.
Most times, the little guy does not win. I would imagine that basically the entire purpose of this kind of frivolous lawsuit or these legal battles is literally just to drain them of their resources and then force the studio to either shut down or
This is a big thing with legal problems. Like, you guys know that I recently got out of a lawsuit, and it looks like I probably will not be able to get the legal fees back, at least not at this current point in time. It seems unlikely that I will. And really, I mean, I'll just tell you, like, that was I think it's over $100,000 that I spent on that. So, like, how many people have the ability to go and just spend discretionarily $100,000 to fight a lawsuit? And then take that and then multiply it multiple times for like what Nintendo is going to do to another company, right? And so that's not bad, actually. Look, guys, I'm very fortunate. It's nothing. I don't even really know how much it was because I don't care. But the difference is that all I'm saying about it is that it's not great that it happened. And imagine if I wasn't in the position that I was in and how life-altering and detrimental that would be to me. You see what I'm saying?
supporting the game. That way,
it's not about me.
Nintendo
It's about
would
the
no
fact-
longer have to
I mean,
worry about the
Pocket Pair could fight this because they had made so much money from sales. But think about everybody else that couldn't.
competition, the unflattering comparisons, or the damage to its own brand when parents accidentally confuse Pal World for Pokemon and they don't want to buy the game with the slavery and guns. I don't really know exactly what their problem was. But even with Nintendo's intervention, none of that stopped players from supporting the game. And
because nobody actually cares about those problems. Those are things that are invented by media and by video game companies and HR departments in order to necessitate their existence. Nobody actually cares about any of this.
Much displeasure of the rest of the industry and many other developers and also the media, well, other studios also began supporting Pal World.
Uh-oh.
Terraria brought cosmetics, weapons, bosses, and more with its crossover.
And you have to keep in mind, Terraria is also isn't that a one-man game, basically? Or it started out that way? Like, that was made by really just, like, one really good developer.
Then followed with one of its own. Valheim and Corekeeper later joined Pal World in these group bundles where the studios could support one another. All of this helped Pocket Pair to hold out against one of the most litigious publishers in the industry, with the lawsuit now reported.
And also, by the way, Nintendo's the most successful, too. Nintendo's extremely successful with their litigations. Not only are they litigious, but they are successful and, effective with it.
Ending with Nintendo only able to win around $30,000 in damages. Oh, don't you just love to see justice served? Pal World did not have the approval of the media. It didn't have the protection of a major publisher. It didn't have the reputation of established studios or an army of experienced developers behind it. Nearly every institution that normally gets to decide what game deserves to succeed told players that this game was cheap, derivative, unethical, temporary, or just outright illegitimate. And players ignored every single one of them. They couldn't shame people out of playing it. They couldn't convince them that this game was already dead. They couldn't bury this game beneath accusations of plagiarism. And even Nintendo couldn't even litigate them out of existence. Pal World just became larger, stronger, and more difficult to remove. That's what makes this story way bigger than just one successful game. Pal World exposed just how little authority these people actually have when the players collectively decide that something is worth supporting.
I think that's the big difference, is that the media for a really long time did have control over the narrative about games and everything. And if the media said or pushed narratives that made a game look bad, it would negatively affect the game. And I think that to an extent that still exists, but it's gone down dramatically.
Industry spent 2 years telling everyone what Pal World was supposed to be, and the players, the ones that were actually playing it, they were the ones that actually decided what it was. How embarrassing. I love it. I love this game. I love the story behind it. I love everything that happened. This has to be one of the most validating experiences I have ever had. It's probably true for a lot of you guys as well. The industry was wrong. The players were right. It's not like that ever happens, right?
Well, it's the consumer and the customer is always right in matters of taste. And so whenever you have all of these critics and these people in media telling you that you like something that you shouldn't be allowed to like, that literally means nothing. It doesn't matter. Like, it's the same as, for example, like how many Tyler Perry movies have released? Medea's, 1750th movie about some bullshit thing, right? But Tyler Perry is a fucking billionaire because people keep going out there and watching those movies, right? They keep going out there and seeing them. So it doesn't matter what the critics think. They don't care. It doesn't matter. What matters is whether people are buying the games and people are playing them. And it's the same with movies, TV, or music, or anything else. At the end of the day, the critic's opinion, critics only, and you take a step back, right? What is the actual value that a critic has? The real value that a critic has is someone that effectively is trying to inform and help the user to make a better purchase decision. It's not really it's not an artistic thing. Like there are, like I forgot who said this. There are no statues made of critics. Okay. So it's not like there's any real value that these people are creating. They're just simply informing other people on how to make a better decision.
It's literally the meme of the guy screaming,
yeah, it is.
Stop enjoying that game. And the guy just having fun playing it. These guys threw a tantrum for like 2 years straight about this game. And it resulted in nothing other than it just becoming more successful. The one thing that has always bothered me about this game is how poorly it was treated by the industry at large, both by game developers and also by the media itself. This is exactly the kind of game that we want to see succeed. This is literally David versus Goliath.
True.
Pokemon has held a chokehold on this genre. It is thought to be impenetrable by most. In most cases, people can only find very niche success in this genre, never to challenge the throne. And now we have a usurper. We should be celebrating that.
And we're having multiple other ones too. You have Azure Parmelia and that Amiibo game that's also coming out too. I think that you could see Pokemon's market share decreasing by a very large margin. And I don't think that Pokemon is going to fall off, by the way. I really just don't think so. I think that really what this is going to have to force Nintendo into doing is to make a good Pokemon game. I think that they might actually have to make a good Pokemon game after this. Hopefully.
That's something that we should be looking to support, because that ultimately just means better Pokemon games in the future. And it also opens the door for other challengers to arrive and new ideas to come in. And then we get more options, and then we get more better games. This is how competition works.
Yes.
You had some journalists and players that were cheering on these lawsuits. How disgusting are you? What are you doing? Cheering for litigation between
cheering for people trying to withhold copyrights and to stop people from being able to innovate and make their own games. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Please, Nintendo, sue me harder. Get the fuck out of here.
billion-dollar companies and quite literally like single-digit number indie studios. All because you've invested your entire life and personality into Pokemon.
Yep.
Terminally millennial. Unbelievable.
Terminally millennial. That's a new term. I like that term. That's a big term. The same people that hate capitalism, exactly. I'm late. Pokemon's suing Power World. They did, but it's basically over now.
Only for you guys just to find out that if Nintendo won, it would be the most damaging thing the games industry has ever seen. It would ruin games pretty much across the board. Patenting the ability to capture creatures, to be able to ride them. What were you guys thinking? This game's success is a huge win for indie developers, a massive win for indie developers, because it can prove just how high these guys can reach. And more or less, it also, just by fighting this legal battle and getting all the way through this, they have now set a precedent to stop anything similar happening to somebody else. Because once you fight this fight, that fight is over, at least for now in this case. And it's just going to make sure that more people can make games like this. We're going to see more creature collecting games. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, we already are. There's like Amiibo or whatever it's called. There's one of those games is going to be coming out soon that also looks pretty good, at least given the eyeball test at the very least. We'll have to see what it actually looks like when it comes out. But that's what we end up getting as a result of this. We get more games and we get more options, and then we get better games as a result of that. But I think that Power World has to be the clearest picture, the clearest example of the divide between players and the industry. I think that the problem is that the industry used to be made up of people that played video games, and now the industry is made up of people that want to be celebrities or they want to be inside of the media industry. Whereas like in 2001 or 1995, you looked at, this is the class. These are the people that made the original Doom. These are the guys that programmed original World of Warcraft. And it's just a bunch of fat nerds. It's a bunch of fat nerds sitting there. And maybe there's one girl with really big glasses that's off in the corner, right? And that's it. That's Sally. She's great. And so everybody else, it's a bunch of dudes. And they look exactly like you would expect them to look. And that, to me, those people, and nowadays, by the way, you have people that went to filmmaking school. They were theater kids. They wanted to be an actor. They want to be a voice. Like, these people want to be famous, and they see video games as a vehicle to do that. We want and what they think we need. These guys do not represent us. They do not respect our taste. That much has been proven by this game and this game's success and everything that these guys have done to try to stop it. And our support proved that their authority means absolutely nothing anymore. They don't have any. Yeah. Absolutely nothing. Because they couldn't stop it. The whole reason, I want you guys to know, I think a better example of this actually is Black Myth Wukong.
I think Black Myth Wukong had the exact same problem because the people that worked at Game Science, and that's the company that made Black Myth Wukong, did not capitulate even 1% to the Western value judgment of the way that they interpreted statements that people that worked at the company made. They were like, listen, we're here to talk about the game. We're not here to talk about what's happening at the studio. This is just simply about the video game. And these people, like, that's why I think that's the reason why Black Myth Wukong didn't get a 10. Like, yeah, Stellar Blade is another great example. Yeah, these people, and by the way, they're not done yet. We haven't completely destroyed them, and we need to. We have to completely destroy them. Because if we don't, they will destroy everything that you love. Everything that you love, everything that you enjoy, they will infect it with their stupid fucking ideas, with their garbage value system, and with their trash ideology. They need to be totally driven out of the industry. Completely driven out of the industry. They are the villains. They are the bad guys, and they need to go.
It's the whole reason that Power World was able to make it this far, the reason why Pocket Pair was able to fight their legal battles the way that they have. It's because we continue to support them financially and also emotionally in a way because you know people really like their game, so they felt pushed to be able to continue to support it.
Mm-hmm. Driven out of society.
We actually ended up in the midst of this revealing to the rest of the industry what players actually want.
Yeah.
Fun games.
Well, and it's also, like, it's what I said earlier, it's an actual video game. Power World is a video game. Like, you are playing, it's interactive, you are doing things, you're always active. Like, a lot of AAA video games now, the amount of time that you're actually playing the game is minimal. Like, I want a video game that I am playing and interacting with and doing things with. Like, Elden Ring, Super Mario Brothers 3, Legend of Zelda, Link to the Past. Fucking, like, I want to play a video game. Hollow Knight. You know, you're actually doing something in the game. You're not sitting around listening to fucking cinematics. There's not a storyline exposition where 7 different proper nouns get thrown at you that you have to remember how they connect together. Like, it's just an actual fucking game. And I think that's what people want to see. It is. I hate movie games. I don't even hate movie games, but I hate video games where it's like I'm trying to, like, I want to play the game. I want to play the game. I can't play the game because I keep getting interrupted. I'm getting interrupted. I can't do anything.
That's going to be a real problem for a lot of people.
Armored Core 6.
When Power World first launched into early access, I honestly took a lot of the backlash at face value. Some of the character designs are clearly inspired by Pokemon.
Oh, they were stolen for sure. Fuck them. That's what happens. Pokemon stole it from Dragon Quest. Power World should be able to steal it from Pokemon.
Sure. Okay, I'll give you that.
Yeah,
I can also understand for some people that they might be offended by some of the game's themes. I definitely don't respect those people, but, you know, I can understand how they got there.
Yeah.
But after all this time, and after seeing everything that this game has delivered, I think I finally understand what the real issue was for a lot of people in this industry, which is the fact that they just don't get it. And that confusion frustrates them. What do you mean players want a game that's filled with themes of cute animal slavery and toilet-level humor? What do you mean they want to shove a penguin into a rocket launcher or have a monkey following them around with an AK-47? What do you mean they want hot anime chick bosses that they can capture in a ball and then force into hard labor? What do you mean they want this offensive, distasteful, copycat game made of Unreal assets and fever dreams, and it's somehow now the best-selling game in the last decade? Power World is simply the antithesis of what many people in this industry believe games should actually be. They are the same people that give Mixtape a 10 out of 10, then act confused when players are upset. They think that Dragon Age the Veilguard should have been a success. They think that Marathon is receiving undeserved hate, and they consistently fail to recognize what we want from video games is not necessarily the same thing that
this into my veins. I know.
They want. And honestly, probably a lot of other people, simply just do not care that Power World's designs are influenced by Pokemon, that the game...
I don't give a fuck. Power World and Pokemon have similar designs? Okay. Like, what does this have to do with me? What is this? Like, what does this have? Like, I don't care about this. Like, I want to... Like, it's the same as, like, people that are like, oh, but they copied Dark Souls. Really? Great. I love playing Dark Souls. Maybe I'll play this game too. It's the entire mindset. And I think that the mindset reveals that these people are fundamentally not on the player's side. They're not. They're on the corporation side. They're on Access Media's side. They are on the side of a class of people who they consider above the people that actually consume and play the content. That's what they really are. They think that they're better than us. And they're not. They're losers.
Uses Unreal assets and that it's not the most refined or polished game ever made.
Yeah.
I don't care that it isn't cinematic, that it doesn't have a progressive narrative, or that it refuses to bend over backwards for people that don't want to be offended by a video game.
Exactly.
I like that this game is messy and unrefined. I like that it doesn't have a drawn out tutorial that's keeping me from actually playing it.
And fucking exactly. It's so obvious. Like, just let people play this. Let me play the game. I want to play the game. Holy
I'm not
fuck.
forced to stop and watch a movie every half an hour while I'm playing the game.
Yes.
That I actually get to the gameplay almost immediately
playing the
after I
video
turn it
game.
on. And I'm going to say the reason that this game has become as successful as it is because Pocket Pair actually just leaned harder into what players wanted instead of trying to please the rest of the industry with what they think they would want.
True.
I started a fresh save going into 1.0, and it's kind of taken me a while to be able to get back to where I was because I've spent the last week moving and trying to get everything set up. But my God, did these guys cook. These guys went far above and beyond what I think anybody expected them to do, especially the people who had claimed that this game was a blatant cash grab and they would be abandoning the game shortly after their launch. But Palworld 1.0 has a fully fleshed out storyline, side quests that are scattered across the map, new biomes, and 72 new additional creatures on top of everything that they already added in their earlier updates. It has an absurd amount of new weapons and armor sets and crafting options. Base building is enormous now with
The game is ridiculously complex. It is. It is crazy complicated.
materials, workstations, decorations, and
copy to early
structures to be
build.
able to
It's
build.
the best build.
They added expeditions that allow you to send your pals out to gather
autoplay
resources.
thing,
They
yeah.
expanded the pal customization with mutations and awakenings, allowing you to make them as powerful as you want. During early access, they even added Global Pal Box, which allows you to be able to take pals between worlds. And also, they did this alongside the Pal Arena, which means you can go and fight other players on a server or face NPCs in 3 versus 3 battles, and
That's
you get a bunch of
insane.
rewards. It's crazy what these guys have done. But gameplay, notice that's everything that I just mentioned. Almost everything this developer is focused on revolves around the one thing that players care about the most, and that is the act of playing this game.
video game.
They have improved the visuals and
That's
touched
right.
up some of the creature designs, but the overwhelming majority of the effort that they put into this game went towards giving players more game to play and more ways to be able to play it. That is really all people
Is
are
it true that they're coming out with an update on the 30th too? I heard that they were. I'm not sure if that's true though.
asking for it. It's
Somebody
a
in
massive
chat
reason
said
why
this.
Palworld has been as successful as it has been to this point. Because
Yes.
people just want more gameplay
Oh
and
my
they just
God.
want a fun game to play. Pocket Pair CEO Takuro Mizobe has delivered the exact same basic message across multiple interviews at this point.
True.
He recognizes that creating something completely new is difficult, so whenever possible, he just studies what already works. He has described Palworld as a mashup of everything that he finds interesting and everything he has seen succeed before.
Yeah.
The things people have already proven that they want. In an interview with Euronews, he had said that he doesn't have some grand creative vision. He just simply wants to make a game that people like. And when
Great. You're going to make a game. And in my opinion, I think that, again, you can be Kojima and you can have a creative vision of something like Death Stranding and you can make a game that's truly an experience. But most people aren't Kojima. And so their idea of like their creative vision is like their rejected 11th grade theater play that nobody wanted to do. And so it's like, okay, well, that's not going to work.
he was asked why Palworld combines cute creatures with guns, especially when discussing the importance of American players, his answer was
Yeah.
simple.
It's cool.
Americans like to shoot things.
Finally, someone who understands us. How is it that the random man from Japan understands Americans better than Americans do? How does that happen? Isn't that crazy?
The funny thing is that I think a lot of people in the games industry would probably be offended by how blunt all of this is. Mizobe seems to lack the creative drive, the artistic ethics, and the grand vision they think a developer is supposed to have. He just wants to make a consumerist game, a grab bag of things that people already like, all of it bundled together into something that people can enjoy and play for hundreds of hours. Oh my God, how disgusting. But you know what? Regardless of what they think, he was right. And so are we. Games at their baseline are entertainment. They can move you, they can inspire you, they can teach you something, but the most important thing is that they are supposed to be fun. So when a game comes along that is that pure, distilled, crystallized fun with no barriers, no censorship, and no concern for whether it's too messy or too deranged, people are going to enjoy it. And that's exactly what happened with Power World. The games industry at large has become so self-obsessed with the smell of their own shit. They have almost completely disregarded the purpose of these games and are chasing their own version of it. They want
they want to make movies. They want to be in Hollywood. They want to be famous. They want to be part of the, quote, entertainment industry. They want that level of recognition. Why else would you pay a Hollywood actor to play a cube?
Hollywood version of it. They think that these games need to educate the audience, influence the audience, create works of art, get lost in the process, spend hundreds of millions of dollars like they're making a blockbuster movie, and then they just completely forget about the gameplay, the fun factor, and they severely overestimate.
That's another thing that, like, I never even really thought of, but, like, some guy on Twitter said this. Like, whenever it showed the intro for this game, there was actually only, like, 2.5 minutes of actual gameplay, and it was, like, the big gameplay reveal, but it was actually just cutscenes, and then there were a few times where you had to walk somewhere and press triangle. It wasn't actually even gameplay.
Mate, how much people appreciate the art over the product. Pocket Pair CEO recognizes that games are products first and creative work second. He wants to make money. That's his entire purpose. He has said that many times before, and he knows the best way to do that is to treat making games the same way players do when buying them.
Is this worth my money?
You know, for all the biggest criticisms about the lack of originality for Power World, I find it really hilarious that people want to prop up Pokemon as something to overshadow this game when Game Freak and Nintendo have been churning out the same repetitive slop for decades.
It's just pathetic, bro. This is actually fucking pathetic. Look at this. Oh my God. What a piece of fucking garbage. Wow.
Decades now with little to no innovation. You know, I played Pokemon ZA, much to the dismay of many Pokemon fans, where they tried to innovate, ironically just copying Power World's involvement of the player character in combat and not just the creatures, but all they did was just make it where you just run around and dodge attacks. No other interactivity other than just spamming buttons and waiting for abilities to come off of cooldown. You know, as shallow as they try to make Power World seem, you are shooting guns, you're laying traps, you're throwing grenades, you're grabbing a pal and using them as a flamethrower, you're riding on the back of them to use their abilities and then switching them out for something else. In copying the old, Power World ended up making something far better, far newer, more dynamic and interactive, a creature collector that honestly has more flexibility than any game has ever had before, including any game that's been made by Nintendo. Power World is honestly just a fantastic game now. Simple as that. And, you know, one of the things that I realized when I was playing through it again is that they even made the act of collecting creatures better than it's ever been. You know, in Pokemon, you collect a creature and it's just filling out your Pokédex just for the completion's sake. In Power World, catching them gives you more experience. It expands what you can do at your base. It lets you strengthen your other pals, and it opens up more ways to play. They didn't
there's like meta level gameplay where like you have like, so there's like the items that you can upgrade, you can use the pals, you can sell them, you can you know, harvest them and like kill them and like, you know, get resources out of them. There's like 50 different ways that you can play this game in order to achieve goals.
Improve the combat or exploration, they made the act of collecting creatures actually matter. Now, I think this is where the comparison to Pokemon finally becomes a bit unavoidable here, but, you know, Power World did not become successful because it tricked a bunch of people into buying a knockoff. It became successful because there was a massive audience that was waiting for somebody to take this genre somewhere new. That's what I had been waiting for. I know that's what a lot of people have been waiting for. People have spent years now asking for Pokemon to make larger worlds, deeper multiplayer, better performance, more interaction with the creatures, and gameplay that extends beyond just simply pressing attack on a menu.
I think really if Nintendo committed to making a Pokemon game that was an actual AAA, like a real video game and not just what they're trying to do on a Switch, I think that game would, like, if you took the Pokemon universe and the Pokemon fan base and you made a game of a higher quality of Pal World, it would probably sell 100 million copies. I'm not even kidding. It would be a fucking generational success, and it would be ridiculous how good it was and how popular it was. Like, it's crazy how but like, they just don't do it.
Nintendo could ignore a lot of those demands because, well, there was really nowhere else for that audience to go. Every single competitor remained small enough for these guys to dismiss, and Pokemon continued to sell millions of copies because that audience just buys those games anyway, regardless of how little those games move forward. But I think Power World changes that. It changes those expectations. Your creatures fight alongside you. They work inside your bases. They gather resources, operate machinery, service mounts. They fundamentally change the way that you move throughout the world. Pocket Pair took the fantasy that people had watching Pokemon as children and built an entire game around actually living alongside those creatures, though.
That's the big thing to me, is that Pal World is the Pokemon video game that I imagined I would play as an adult. Pokemon Legends ZA looks like it could have been made for the Nintendo 64. It doesn't feel like it's a new game.
A little bit more twisted than people probably thought it would be. It gave people more freedom, more interaction, and more game for $20 or $30 than Nintendo has been willing to offer for twice the price for many years now. Power World did not steal Pokemon's audience. Pokemon abandoned an audience that Power World was willing to serve. And I think that audience is a lot bigger than they know. The gatekeepers of the games industry have completely lost control. We are the captain now, my friends. They can't do anything to stop it. We have now proven through this game, out of any game, I think at this point, that our demand outstrips anything that they can say or do to try to change things or move things in a direction that we do not want.
True.
And I think this game is probably the clearest example that we have ever seen of the games industry at large, whether it's developers or the press or whoever else, just completely not having or respecting the same taste as players. They are so absolutely confused by the fact that people like this game, and it drives them up the wall. And it's not even
because
that people
they're not gamers. They don't play video games. So, like, in their mind, it's like, oh, wow. Like, yeah, this is so confusing for me. Yeah, because you don't understand people that play video games. Like, your idea of a video game is an interactive movie that you press triangle on.
Like this game is that this many people like this game because it is an aversion of truth to them. How is this possible? What do you mean? Why isn't it The Last of Us? Why isn't it Mixtape? Why isn't it these other artistic, wasteful, garbage games that nobody wants to give time to? Well, I'm going to tell you, it's pretty simple. We want fun games. Power World.
Do you think anyone, and no secret, who plays Power World? I think it's more than that. I think that probably every single executive probably has played Power World. Every guy that's involved with the Pokemon branch, and even people that aren't at Nintendo, I bet they have all extensively played Power World, and I bet they are sitting there over in that office in Japan, yelling at each other, mad that they haven't done it better than this. I don't think that they're delusional. I bet there's a lot of guys over at Nintendo that are saying, see, I told you. See, I told you. Why didn't you listen? So, this is all we had to do. I guarantee you they're doing that.
Is a very fun game. Simple as that.
Wouldn't you do that?
It's not the most creative game. It's not the most compelling game. But man, once you're in it, you're having fun. And you just keep playing. And you keep playing. And you keep playing. Every single session you go to sit down, you put multiple hours in. It is not a game that you sit down to play for 30 minutes and just walk away from it for a week.
Exactly.
No. Most people are picking up this game and continuing to play it. That's the reason why the Steam numbers are as high as they are, because the concurrent player is... Yeah, you guys get it.
Yeah.
It's just fun to see. I love seeing this happen. And, you know, massive congratulations to Pocket Pair and Power World. It's huge what these guys have done. Not only just the creativity and the originality of their game, or at least the originality that I see in it, the things that they've done with it, and how amazing of a game these guys have made, and getting this game all the way to the finish line with as few as people as they had. The team's definitely grown over the years. I think they're closer to 100 people now, but it's crazy that they were able to pull off what they did with as few people as they had before. but the game is great. It really is.
I think that we have to reframe the way that we talk about small teams. I think that instead of saying that it's incredible that a small team was able to make a great game, I think that we have to reframe this into, why is it that you have this huge team and you can't make a good game? Because if you really go back in time and you look at a lot of video games that were made, there were tons of video games that didn't have a gigantic team, but the game was super successful and super popular. So really, I think that the idea of a team needing to be that size, small is a frame of reference. And I think really the team size of things like Pocket Pair, Pal World, right, obviously, or Expedition 33, I think that probably should be the norm.
And honestly, man, I gotta respect the balls on these guys to go after and take on one of the biggest and most litigious publishers in the entire industry and come out alive. Not even come out alive, come out on top.
Yeah, against Pokemon.
You guys are
my
kings,
God.
man. Kings in my eyes.
That is
And
nuts.
I view this game as one of the catalysts in what I am viewing as a culture war. Not even a culture war. It's a counterculture in video games where people are just sick and tired of the gaslighting. People are sick and tired of people telling them what games should be or how games should be played or what games can include and who games are actually made for. And they just want all that bullshit to go away. And they just want fun video games. And this game has been a part of that.
What?
Because it showed the contrast between expectations and desires.
You can't just...
Basically everywhere.
Oh.
You know, one of the other things that I've seen as well is there's been a lot of journalists that have been turncoating pretty quick. And I find that to be...
What about the narrative?
Poetic. You see a lot of these guys that were like, they were bad-mouthing Power World 2 years ago, but now that, there's been a few rounds of layoffs and their companies aren't doing that well and they really need some ad revenue, now you see these guys really doing their best to try to, positive post about, Pocket Pair and Pal World because, well, they got to make money and they got to get clicks. You're seeing these guys.
That's exactly it. And if any of these people make the negative posts about these games because they're mad that video games are being made without their consent, there's going to be a video made about them. Somebody's going to make a video about them. It's going to happen. And they're going to deserve it. They will. They're going to deserve it. It's the same thing. Remember that guy from Avowed that got fired? Yeah.
Posting all these different guides and stuff
Rip
like
Bozo.
that. I'll give credit where credit is due. Paul Tossi, that guy has loved this game since the minute they came out. I'm telling you, some of these guys are starting to change. The chuddening is happening.
It is the year of the chud. It is the beginning of the decade of the chud.
I don't want to hear that. I think it's true, though. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you guys think of the new setup. Do you guys like the new background? I hope. I hope you do, because I'm not moving here. I'm not leaving here anytime soon.
He's in the basement.
Moved halfway across the country, literally halfway across the country. So you're stuck with this place. Maybe I'll change walls if you guys think it could look better from a different direction. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did enjoy the video, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Share with your friends. Follow me on social media. Follow me on Twitter, where I talk mad shit. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Stay cool, stay righteous, stay safe. Peace.
I am so glad this has happened. I really am. I think this, honestly, I'm going to link you guys the video. This is a very, very, very good video. And 912,000 people playing the game. Yeah, exactly, right? And I think that really you're going to have even more people playing and trying it out over time. And I just think that in general, make sure to give the video a like. I've watched Legendary drops now from the beginning, right, really? And so I'm very glad to see more of this happening. And overall, like, yeah, this is just amazing. I'm so happy to see this happen.